You know, you get two drunk driving tickets and you go to jail or you pay a goddamn fine. And he, a slap on the hand, go and do community work. Okay? How does that happen, Your Honor? I want to know how did that happen.
I don't have the option to do closed captions for this.
Anything else?
No. Thank you.
That is the grandmother of Emmanuel Haro.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, any other impact statements on behalf of the people?
No, thank you.
Ms. Garthwaite, Ms. Lowe, no impact statements on behalf of the defense?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
And submitting on your motion?
Yes.
Submitting on your motion.
Yes.
So the court is now going to pronounce judgment at this time. Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Smith, are you okay if I sentence on all three together, all three cases?
Yes.
Yes.
This time, this court, having taken the defendant's plea, having read and considered the probation report, and having seen, heard, and considered the evidence and arguments of counsel at the sentencing hearing, as well as taking judicial notice of its own records, hereby pronounces the sentence as described in this order. The court imposes an aggregate sentence of 180 days and 6 years, 8 months, plus 25 years to life and fines as specified. As I will explain shortly, the sentence of 180 days and 6 years and 8 months will be determinate. The 25 years to life is indeterminate and will be described at this time. Probation is denied. Because Mr. Haro was on probation for a felony offense at the time he committed the serious and violent offenses of murder and assault on a child under 8 causing death, he is ineligible for probation pursuant to Penal Code Section 1203. Accordingly, probation is denied. In regards to the terms of imprisonment, this case involves the imposition of determinate terms and indeterminate terms. The court will first address the indeterminate terms. I did read the briefing submitted by Ms. Lowe and Ms. Garthwaite, as well as by Mr. Smith and Mr. Robinson. For count 1, in case FERI 2504-808-1, murder in the second degree, the court imposes the only term provided by law of 15 years to life. The court notes that the amended complaint filed by the people lists the punishment for count 1 as 25 to life, which would suggest that the charge is first-degree murder, but we did have a discussion at the last hearing regarding those sentence or that charge, and that is in the second degree. So I want to make sure that that's clear, Mr. Smith and Ms. Lowe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Accordingly, the court orders the designation of the 25 to life stricken from the amended complaint. For count 3, in case FE.
Michael is saying he can't hear. Can you guys hear this or not? Is it, as I have it boosted at 100%. You can't hear the judge or you can't hear at all? Because he's talking really low. I can't control that, but I have it boosted. So can you hear it? It's just quiet. Okay, you can hear it. Because I can't control their feed. It's, you know.
Accordingly, the court stays the punishment for count 1, the murder charge, pursuant to section 654. The court declines to stay the punishment for count 3 instead of count 1, pursuant to section 654. Mr. Haro, through his attorney, urges the court to stay the higher punishment because he acknowledged wrongdoing and pled guilty at an early stage of the criminal process, which is a mitigating factor under the rules of court. And the court does not find this to be a compelling reason to select the 15-year to life term in lieu of the 25-year to life term. While Mr. Haro did plead guilty at an early stage in the proceedings, this does not outweigh the significant and considerable aggravating factors that he has admitted to. It cannot be ignored that Mr. Haro was on probation for severely abusing one child when he decided to assault and kill another child. Further, the court notes that Mr. Mr. Haro was out on bail in 2 cases, including one for abusing his daughter when he killed baby Emmanuel. And the fact that Mr. Haro pled guilty at an early stage, while not insignificant, cannot overcome the horrific nature of the circumstances here. Given the admissions Mr. Haro himself has made with respect to the aggravating factors, accordingly, I will impose the indeterminate term of 25 years to life. Mr. Haro has also been convicted of 3 felony charges with determinate sentences. The court selects the child abuse charge, 273A from case BAF 2101265-2 to be the principal offense. The court orders executed the previously imposed term of 6 years, which is the upper term. As will be explained, the court orders the determinate punishments to run consecutively to the punishment imposed in felony case ending in 808-1. In case BAF 2400717, Mr. Haro has pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm pursuant to Penal Code Section 29800 and ammunition under Penal Code Section 3305. These offenses are based on his possession of a loaded firearm, which is a single act. Accordingly, the court stays punishment for count 2, the possession of ammunition charge pursuant to Section 654. For the firearm possession charge in count 1, I will impose a subordinate term of 8 months, which is 1/3 of the midterm, to run consecutively to the principal term. When determining whether to impose consecutive or concurrent sentences, the rules of court provide several factors for the court to consider. The factors related to the crime include whether or not, 1, the crimes and their objectives were predominantly independent of each other. 2, the crimes involved separate acts or threats of violence. Or 3, the crimes were committed at different times or separate places, rather than being committed so closely in time and place as to indicate a single period of terrible behavior. The court may also consider any aggravating or mitigating circumstances in deciding whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences, except that the court may not impose a consecutive sentence based on 1, a fact used to impose the upper term, or 2, a fact used to otherwise enhance the defendant's sentence, and 3, a fact that is an element of the crime. The consecutive punishments are appropriate here because the crimes and their objectives were independent of each other, involved separate acts, and were committed at different times, indeed over the course of many years. Accordingly, the court imposes all felony punishments to run consecutively to each other. Mr. Haro has also pled guilty to a misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report in count 2 in filing case ending in 808. For this misdemeanor offense, the court imposes a term of 180 days to be served in any penal institution. Having imposed the terms as explained, the court hereby imposes an aggregate term of 180 days and 6 years 8 months, plus 25 years to life in state prison. I do want to touch on my discretion in case there was any question. Looking back on this in the future, were the voters or the legislature to amend any statutes, or were there to be any decisional law in the future that would grant this court any additional discretion in sentencing, and which might benefit Mr. Haro, this court would decline to exercise any such additional discretion to lower or mitigate Mr. Haro's sentence. The court has weighed and balanced all the aggravating and mitigating factors in this case and considered all circumstances such that the court believes the current sentence is just and appropriate. Mr. Haro's conduct and culpability in the offense against his own children lead the court to conclude that Mr. Haro's sentence today is fully justified without future downward modification, even should the legislature provide such discretion. In regards to the fines, the court will impose a restitution fine of $10,000. The court finds the maximum fine is appropriate given the number of felonies the defendant was convicted of number of years he is being ordered to serve. The court imposes the parole revocation restitution fine in the amount of $10,000 as well. This fine is stayed unless and until parole is revoked. I will impose the court security fees as well as the penalties. The court additionally imposes the state penalty of $10 for every $10 or part of $10 upon every fine imposed. The state penalty assessment of 20% of the base fine, the court operations assessment of $40 for each conviction, and the court facilities assessment of $30 for each conviction. Ms. Lowe, I will take note of your request under Duenas. And at this time, those fines and fees will be imposed, but stay the execution pursuant to Duenas. In regards to restitution, the court orders victim restitution to be paid in any amount that may be determined in the future. Mr. Haro is also ordered to pay interest at a rate of 10% per annum, accruing as of October 12th of 2018 in case BAF ending in 265, as of July 27th, 2024 in BAF ending in 717, and as of August 14th, 2025 in felony case ending in 808-1. Mr. Haro is hereby advised the restitution order shall be enforceable as if they were civil judgments. Mr. Haro, I'm going to advise you of the following at this time. You are advised of your right to appeal. The notice of appeal must be filed within 60 days after the rendition of the judgment or the making of the order being appealed. You are also advised that if you are indigent, you are entitled to appointment of counsel upon request. Sir, I'm also advising you of your requirement to provide buccal swab samples, right thumbprints, and a full palm print impression of each hand and any blood specimens or other biological samples. Sir, also advising you that as a result of these convictions, you are prohibited from owning, purchasing, receiving, possessing, or having under your custody or control any firearms, ammunition, or body armor. You are also ordered to relinquish any firearms. Sir, I'm advising you, and I went over this at your plea, that if you are not a citizen of the United States, these convictions will have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of naturalization pursuant to federal law. You're also advised that at the expiration of the term of imprisonment here imposed, you may be released on parole unless the Board of Prison Terms waives parole for good cause. If parole is granted, the period of parole shall be for 3 years. Now, sir, going over your credits, and Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson, I believe we went over these this morning, but just want to make sure that I have the correct credits. Sir, in BAF, case ending in 017, you have credits of 72 plus 72 for a total of 144 days. Mr. Smith, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, do you agree?
Yes.
In case ending in 265, your banning case, you have credits for 167 days actual plus 166 days 4019 for a total of 333.
Yes.
Yes.
And lastly, sir, in the case, your newest case ending in 808, your Riverside case, you have credits of 74 days actual plus 0 days good time credit for a total of 74 days.
Yes.
So to reiterate the final disposition, Mr. Haro, you are hereby sentenced to serve 180 days and 6 years, 8 months to terminal. You are ordered to serve 25 years to life in the state prison for the child abuse perpetrated against CH, for unlawfully possessing a firearm and ammunition after having been convicted of such a heinous crime, and for the senseless assault and murder of baby Emmanuel. While no sentence can possibly vindicate the loss of innocence and life at the hands of Mr. Haro, the man who was supposed to protect these precious and defenseless children against evil and harm, the sentence here is the most the court can do to ensure that as much justice is done as possible. that end, the court imposes the aforementioned terms of imprisonment, fines, and penalties and assessments. And I will be filing a written order of today's sentence. Anything else at this time before I sentence him or order him transported forthwith? Ms. Lowe or Ms. Garthwaite?
No, thank you, Your Honor. I have a point of clarification, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to inquire, it's my understanding that the court did impose the $10,000 restitution fine that stayed that person with coming here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Robinson?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, Mr. Haro, I am going to order that you are transported forthwith by the Department of Corrections for housing in the state prison. And Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, before you leave, there was an issue that we had kicked over to today's date in regards to the violation of probation and the subpoena documents. Mr. Robinson, Mr. Smith, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Garthwaite, how would you like to proceed with those documents?
It's my request that be put over to the January 21st FSC date. I did tell defense counsel for Mr. Haro that I would notify them. I'd like to address who has standing to object to those on that particular day.
And Your Honor, anytime that third-party documents are subpoenaed to the court, there's a procedure where the court has to determine if there's good cause and conduct an in-camera hearing, and that's with or without an objection. But I already did object to the release and asked that the court follow that process at the last court proceeding. If the court would like me here in January to make that same record, I'm happy to do so.
So you made the record. It was my understanding that there might be a request that those documents were not needed. So we'll continue the matter to January 21st. I'll note your objection. In between now and then, I'll review the documents for materiality. Mr. Smith, if you can let me know if you plan to continue to use those documents. If you're not going to use the documents, then I will not review them and we'll keep them downstairs. But if they are going to be released, I will review them for materiality.
Based on my limited understanding of what's in those documents, I do believe it's possible. I would like to use them, so I ask the court to review them.
Okay, so I'll review them by the next court date, and then Ms. Lowe and Mr. Smith will have further conversations, and we'll figure out, Ms. Lowe, if it's necessary for you to appear on that January 21st date, as well as you, Ms. Garthwaite. Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Haro has some paperwork to take back with him. I also want to make sure, I don't think that we ever made an order that he could have paperwork transported back and forth.
I'll make an order that he be allowed to transport his legal paperwork to and from court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, court to recess now. Can I have everybody step outside, please?
Camera?
Okay. Wow. That was so great. I'm just really happy he got the maximum that he could get on that. Let's go through everything that we know so far. Let me just change screens. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to talk about it because I know the judge was a little bit hard to hear. I could not control that. I had it boosted at 100%. So let's go through it. This is Garrett Cottle, who was in the courtroom, says that the Judge Polk is the name of the judge. I love this judge, has sentenced Jake Haro to an aggregate sentence of 180 days plus 6 years and 8 months determinate and 25 years to life. So for people who are thinking that he only got 25 years, no, 25 years to life. So this is all plus. He doesn't get to serve these concurrently or at the same time. He has to serve these consecutively. So one after the other after another. So he's 180 days plus 6 years and 8 months. And that's for Carolina Rose Promise for breaking his probation on that. So that 6 years and 8 months is for Carolina Rose. And for Emmanuel Haro, he gets 25 years to life. Let's go through this together. Okay. Let me make sure I'm looking at the same thing you are. Yeah. So let's just go through this. Court officials said to the Riverside County Superior Court, Judge Charles Polk, I love this judge. He reorganized his schedule. He moved the hearing from 8:30 to this afternoon. For those of you that are just joining us, you can back up the live stream. You can watch Jake cry for himself while he's getting sentenced. But he received 20, he received, let me go through this one more time. He received 180 days plus 6 years and 8 months determinate. And that is for what he did to Carolina Rose. He was on probation. Remember, for Carolina Rose, he served 1 day in jail and he was let out on a sweetheart deal. And so on top of this, not served at the same time, but served one after the other, he has to serve between 25 years to life. So it doesn't mean he gets out in 25 years. He has 25 years to life on top of the 6 years and on top of the 180 days. So 6 year and 8 month determinate plus 180 days. So 26 and a half years minimum. And that's if he gets out on parole. I don't think a parole board is going to be too anxious to let this guy out. I think he's going to be in there for a good long while. That's just my opinion. Let me pull this up. I think this is really good news for justice. I am very happy with the sentence. I feel like this was the best outcome that we could probably get, being that he did take a plea deal for himself. And he did cry for himself. We saw lots of tears. I'm okay. I'm back. Sorry. I got bounced out of my own stream. Can you guys hear me okay? So I think this is really good news for justice. I do want to go back over to Garrett's page. Let's go over there and see if anybody's doing any type of press conference after. So we're going over to Garrett. And this is what we know so far. I don't know if they're going to do a press conference or not. Garrett did try to find out ahead of time, but this is what he got. Jake Haro is sentenced to 180 days plus 6 months and an 8-month determinate and 25 years to life. So not just 25 years. So he's getting 6 years. So that's 25 plus 6 years. So 26 years to life plus 180 days plus 8 months determinate. So he's going to be spending almost 27 years to life in prison. So I think that's good news for justice. What do you guys say about this? Come on up and talk to me. Jake cried. If you didn't get to see him getting sentenced, just back up the live stream. He cried for himself. I think he feels a lot of, I think he feels badly for himself. Of course. That's the only person I've really seen Jake cry for is his own self. We're going to be doing the D4VD live stream after this. I do want to say thank you to NJAS for gifting a Reporter Room membership. That is so kind of you. If you received that Reporter Room membership, please make sure you say thank you to NJAS. Thank you, NJAS. And if you're just watching, come on up and talk to me. Back up the stream if you want to watch him get sentenced. He cries. He absolutely cries. So NJAS is our head mod, along with Michael L. Cole. Thank you for modding today. Dee Dee says, thank you for, she says, that poor baby, this is baby Emmanuel, may he rest in peace. It's just heartbreaking. DWMUA says, great point to you, Michael Redmond. Michael says, if he hadn't pled, it might not have gone to trial. No evidence. Yeah, I think not having the baby is a problem. And maybe he would have gotten a lighter sentence if he would have told the court where the baby was, but he didn't. So he got the judge threw the book at him. He gave him the maximum possible. Thank you for modding today, Dee Dee. Thank you for modding today, Lori. Lori says he was probably excited at first when he heard 180 days. Yeah, and then he started crying, right? Kay Blink said he never should have been able to plead it out as it lessens his sentence. Well, I understand how you feel, and thank you so much for modding. He did. I mean, I don't know. I think this is what I think. I think this was causing embarrassment. I'll just tell you that. First part of justice has been served for baby Emmanuel. Yeah, we still have Rebecca to go, you guys. Okay, so this is my thought on this. I think that I think that this is where the judge was coming from. We have a couple of things in play here. One is I think that the judge, the other judge who put Jake Haro in jail for 1 day would have been an embarrassment, in my opinion, to the court, right? To the court, it would have been an embarrassment that that's all he got was 1 day for ruining the life of Carolina Rose, who is now named Promise. So I think that there's, they wanted this to go away. The other issue, I think, and the reason they were willing to take a plea deal is I think that they didn't have baby Emmanuel. They still don't know where he is. So at least getting him in jail for 26 years. Jake Haro is 32 years right now. It's 26 years to life. I don't think a jury's going to let him out on parole on his first try. Susan Smith also got a sentence to life, and she tried to get it for what she did to her 2 boys, rolling them into the lake, watching them, right? She did not make parole. She didn't get it. So, just because he gets parole after 26 years doesn't mean the parole board will give it to him. I think this is particularly heinous. I think this is particularly egregious. And I just don't see them letting this man out on parole. Let's see if we have any more updates from Garrett. Let me refresh. Nope, he's in the same one. So this is really, really good. I mean, the prosecutors were asking for the maximum. They recommended that he serve a 6-year term for what he did. The judge granted them that, and then begin the consecutive 25-year to life. That is the maximum. So that is what the judge did, gave the prosecution exactly what they wanted, even though the prosecution, it turns out, wasn't involved in this plea deal. And you can see Jake with his big, sad tear rolling down his face here for himself. If you want to watch him cry and watch him with his head in his hands, it will give you some satisfaction in light of the fact that they tried to hoax. They tried to commit a hoax on their community, on everyone. So I do think that this is, as good of news as we're going to get. The judge gave him everything he could give him for pleading second degree. I'm just going to see if anybody else, if there's, I'm just checking to see if there's any kind of press conference afterward. It doesn't look like it. I'm looking to see if there's a press conference. I don't see a press conference right now. It may be that they're going to wait until after Rebecca is, because Rebecca is still going to trial. She's still going forward with a not guilty. But the judge absolutely threw the book at him, gave him everything that the prosecution wanted. Prosecution wanted 6+ years for what happened to Carolina Rose, baby Promise. Judge said yes, and 8 months to terminate, and 180 days. So he even added on to that, plus gave him the maximum of 25 years to life. That means that Jake Haro is facing 31, I keep saying 26 years, it isn't. It's 31 years to life in jail is what he's facing. He is 32 years old now. So at minimum, he'll be up for parole when he's 63 years old. So I think that is probably the best news that we could get for this precious little one. Now Rebecca will be next. What do you guys think? Come on up and talk to me if you're just watching. And Josh will say, yeah, please give this a thumbs up. It's free and it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you want me to cover the Rebecca Haro hearing, which is coming up next. Cabling said he should have served life for his daughter. Well, he could. So I just want to make this clear. Just because he's 31 years to life, which is what he has right now, doesn't mean he'll be let out in 31 years. The parole board could do just like what they did to Susan Smith, which is like, nope, you're not getting out. Sorry, you're staying in. So please don't lose faith that he, that he could see parole. He could very well be turned down by a parole board after he serves 31 years in jail. Dee Dee, thank you for modesty. I agree with you. He should be in jail. Well, now he is. He's getting 6 years and 8 months for what he did to Carolina Rose, whose name is now Promise. And Jazz is asking, please leave your DNA on the thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know I'm doing a credible job and providing you guys with credibly sourced information. Thank you, Lori, for modding today. Mary says, rest in peace, baby Emmanuel. Justice will be served. And we are waiting for Rebecca, right? K-Bing says, please put your paw prints on the like, share, and subscribe. That's so cute. Michael says, Diane Downs is still blaming everyone else. Yeah, and he probably will too. Jake, this is the only time I've seen this man cry is for himself. I saw they couldn't squeeze out a tear for baby Emmanuel. That's, you guys were sounding the alarm that it was a hoax, right? Definitely, I will cover it. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there, you guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I am going over right now. If you want to follow me, I am doing an update on the D4VD and Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. And then after that, I'm going to do Brian Kohlberger. And then if you just got a channel membership from NJAZ, guess what? We're having a channel membership at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. We're doing channel members only live stream. So come and join me